Hey, everybody, 5 things that separate successful retirees from the rest of you. I had fun with this one. Thinking through, I see so many people in retirement, successful or unsuccessful, whatever we want to call them. But the reality is the ones that I envy, I started kind of looking at them and saying, well, what are they doing right? And I boiled it down to these 5 things. So first one, understand your resources. Have a good grasp on what you have and how much money that really is. That becomes really important. So I suggest you kind of create this mental bucket system. You can write it down. How much guaranteed income do you have? Having a grasp on that. Obviously, the budget side of that makes that more relevant. If you have $5,000 a month income, but you have $10,000 a month in bills, you might feel a little uncomfortable. But if you have $5,000 a month in guaranteed income and you only have $2,000 a month in bills you got to pay, makes life a lot easier, especially when you realize that. Because when you realize that, then all of your savings is there for fun stuff. And then it's just the efficiencies of pulling from IRA versus Roth versus after tax and all that. So when it comes to your resources, have a bucket that says this is how much Roth money I have, how much IRA money I have, and how much everything else I have. And then look at real estate. A lot of people forget the real estate as a part of that nest egg. And I got to tell you, when it comes to things like talking about paying for long-term care, if you own your house free and clear, that becomes so important. Knowing that ace in the hole is there ready for you when you need to go into long-term care. The equity in most homes is plenty of money to help pay for long-term care. Then think about it like this from an investing standpoint. You've got guaranteed income to come in and pay those basic bills, but you should also have some safe investments and then the stock market type investing, okay? We always want to have a plan for pulling when the market's not doing well. That's why we need safe investments in retirement. If we don't need our money at all, fine. You want to grow for your heirs, go for it. But the reality is most people want to utilize the money they saved in retirement or even just some of it. Sometimes maybe it's just the required distribution that we get forced into pulling once we're in our 70s. So having some safe investments gives us a place to pull from when the market's not doing well. So understanding our assets and where they are and how we have these safety backups to pull from and enjoy our retirement, that's number one. You got to have that well defined, and that helps you enjoy your retirement. So this one is important as well, living within your means, right? I've seen a lot of people just spend and end up having to be a greeter at Walmart, and that's not good later in life. So it's important to kind of know what your means are in the first as number one, but number two, know that budget and know what you can spend. And so there's some rules we're going to live by. It's the higher your dependence on your portfolio for income, the less it should be left to chance. The larger your withdrawal rate, the greater the effect of volatility. Never withdraw from losses. Okay, so this is where that transition from retirement or from the working years to retirement becomes really important. In our working years and our building wealth years, depositing into volatility is perfectly fine. That's how we build wealth. But the problem is that cannot continue when you go into retirement. You need to be withdrawing from stability to maintain that wealth. So simple math, very simple math. Take your current age, figure out how many years you have to 100. If you don't think you're going to live to 100, fine, do it to 90, but I wouldn't go below 90. Okay, so how many years you have left in retirement? Divide that number into the total amount of savings. So my example here is 1.5 million divided by 35 is $42,000. That is the basic math way to tell us how much we're allowed to pull from our portfolio. Okay, if we had $1.5 million laying in $1 bills all over our floor, this means that I could, for 35 years, pull 42,000 $1 bills out of this pile and go spend it and not run out of money till 100. And the great thing about this calculation is that now the growth, when you invest it, will help you actually keep up with inflation. If we're relying on that growth to fund our retirement, then how is that growth going to help you keep up with inflation? That's why we do this at zero growth. We do this calculation at zero growth to make it ironclad. Now your goal is just don't lose your money, right? So add your Social Security and pension income, all that guaranteed income, to that $42,000 in my example, $48,000 worth of Social Security and pension income. Add the two numbers together, we got just over $90,000. Okay, so when I say living within your budget, you should be living on less than $90,000 in this example. Okay, that's the easy way to figure out how to live within your means in retirement while including cash money as opposed to just your Social Security and pension income. Next, a robust bucket list. What you're going to notice here is the first two were financial. The rest of these are not really financial. A robust bucket list. You have to be ambitious in retirement. Otherwise, you sit around and stew and watch Fox News or CNN or whatever it is, the polarizing stuff, you know. So the reality is that we need to have ambition to get out and see the world, do activities, you know, food, family, whatever it is that you enjoy. You have got to figure that out, and you have got to create that list of things that you want to go see or do. So that's very important. Number 4, fulfilling hobbies. So not only a bucket list of things that you want to do, but you got to get out there and be active and social. Okay, this has been an incredibly important part of what I've seen in success. I am not necessarily a social person. The idea of having a day alone is really appealing to me sometimes. A lot of people don't know that side to me. I'm mostly an introvert, but the reality is that I have social outlets all day long. If I cut that off, if I don't work anymore and I have zero social outlet, whether it's coworkers or clients in my case or anything else, it shuts us off. And it becomes really important that we now create a new source for that. So pickleball, golf, gardening in the community garden, family, whatever it is, we have to get out there and be socially interactive. Whether we like it or not, whether it makes us uncomfortable or not, it's incredibly important. That I know for sure, and I've seen it over and over and again. So very important that we address that as we leave our work life and create a new life. And then number 5, okay, this is big, be healthy. You know, I've got a little bit of a gut I got to get rid of. And I'm starting to work on things like that because in my brain, I'm getting older and it's getting harder to get rid of this. And I have to be healthy because when you look at your 60s, I think we all try to figure out retirement in our 60s. In our 70s, I'm noticing a lot more people are in their go years in their 70s. But that's certainly only if they're healthy and have ambition and have that bucket list, right? But the 80s can also be go years. We've got some really healthy clients out there hiking all the time, and the 80s are still, like most people's 70s, they're thoroughly enjoying it. So you will not only have to have that motivation, that continued motivation, because you've already had at least a decade of full retirement. You got to have a lot of things to do on that bucket list, that ambition to get out there and continue to do things. But boy, it's not easy to be healthy in your 80s. And so we got to make sure that we take care of ourselves. We stay active. And I actually have a handful of clients that are in their 90s that are as sharp and diligent and go as any 80-year-old I know. So it's important to see that. There are people out there that can enjoy their 90s. That's so cool to see. And that's so important. So we can't just wake up when we're 70 and say, well, I'm going to start being healthy. We got to do this. We got to stay active. And believe it or not, a bigger part of this is just making sure that we're doing active things during the day, whether it's walking, whether it's yoga, whether it's tennis, golf, any of these things, get out, do things. that becomes what's important. Sitting on the couch watching TV all day is probably not a good thing. It's the new smoking, they say. So hopefully that helps. That's the keys to a successful retirement. It's keys that really make some people stand out amongst others. My parents are actually one of these successful people in retirement. They have just been enjoying retirement since the day they walked away from work, and they've been healthy and active and going, and their bucket list still has stuff on it as they're approaching 80s. So really important to have those role models and understand that and see that. And I'm lucky enough to have the career that I have, so I can not only see it in my parents, but I can see it in a lot of our clients as well. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully you can start doing some of this stuff. If we can help in any way, I love all of this, whether it's the financial planning side or just the counseling side of understanding retirement and what we need to do to make sure we have a successful retirement. I love all of it. Give us a call, shoot us an email. I'm always happy to help. We're nationwide via Zoom, and we've got clients all over the country and in some other countries. We've had a lot of clients starting to expat out and go enjoy the world. So always happy to help. Give us a call, subscribe, comment below, any of the above. We enjoy all the interaction, and we'll see you next week.